the cat conversation, and everybody that is here that's kind of listening in on the conversation. It's the question you get asked all the time, right? How do you do it? How do you take these lovely little animals into your home and love them with all of your heart and let them go? I'm gonna start with you, Lori.
That's a great question. I think for me, I've been fostering over 7 years now, and in the beginning it was a lot harder. The longer that I do it, it's easier to have that mentality of when one leaves, it opens a door for the next one that needs me. And so that has to be the goal. You know, there's this saying in fostering, goodbye is the goal. So again, every cat that leaves my home opens the door for another one, and it's also been really special to get to know the families that are adopting the cats. We've been able to stay in touch with many, many previous adopters, so when they send me updates or photos on how the kittens are doing, you feel like you're making a difference with not only that animal, but also the family, with all the love that they're able to get, all the happiness that that animal is providing them. So seeing that whole family happy makes it a lot easier to say goodbye as well.
What would you say to that?
It died again.
Okay, we'll just keep doing this. This Mike has decided it only works for 2 days. We'll sign a different contract next year. What would you say? Obviously, with that question too, right? What is it that can help someone today who's like, I don't think I could ever do it?
Yeah, I would have to agree with
You're good.
with Lori here. You can do it. Even the beautiful thing about fostering is it's temporary. If you are a skilled animal handler, you know the nutrition, you know the enrichment, you know the welfare items. You're going to get that rescue animal started on the right foot and be able to pass that education along to the next family. So your door is open as the triage point, and then they get to go and be super proud of making an impact in their community for animals.
And what's really cool about you, Amy, is that you got this question so often that you just wrote a book about it.
Yeah, that is the number one question I get all the time, is how do you let them go? So we did write a book about it. And my thing is, you know, you take them in when they're so needy and they rely everything on you. And then I call it, they get to those teenage years when they hit that like 8 weeks where they're just tearing through my house, climbing my curtains, like terrorizing everything. I'm like, someone really needs you now, and I gotta go get that cute little baby that just wants to snuggle up against me all day long. So that's kind of my way to say, okay, you're ready, and we'll start over again.
Lori, I learned this as I started working more and more with ARPO, and I have 2 kittens that I've adopted from ARPO, Buffy and Giles, the royal tuxedo twins in our family. That there is, to Amy's point, there's like different types of fostering, and you figure out what you like. Like there's like, and you have a system, like it starts with bottle feeders and kind of moves through this interesting system I didn't know about.
We tell people there's a type of animal for everyone. So maybe someone has a really relaxed lifestyle, maybe a senior animal would be great. I think we focus so much on kittens, and yes, there's a need for kittens, but there's an animal out there that needs a foster no matter how old they are. So providing someone some love and support in their golden years, not a lot of time involved, just really need that home and that warm place to be until they can find a forever home. There's people that really like to take a mom and baby kittens, let the mama cat do the majority of the work, and really we're just providing that care and food for the mama cat. That's a great way to get started, because if everything goes smoothly, like I said, the mom's doing most of the work. We have fosters that really just like maybe to foster like a single orphan kitten, so providing support just for one kitty. We have people that like to provide support for just adults, so younger adults. And then same with puppies and dogs. So really you can have your pick of what type of animal you want to foster. And I think people maybe end up specializing in that once you find where your skill set lies and what you feel most comfortable with, what your setup is in your home, what type of animal you can take in. If you have resident pets, what type of animal they are most likely to accept into your home. So there's really something out there for everyone. It doesn't always have to be a kitten or a puppy, but there's a need for adults and senior animals as well.
And almost sometimes I feel like those older pets need it more in ways because they've been in a home, and so going into that shelter is, I mean, it's so
They don't
hard on
adjust
them,
well.
right? Like kittens don't know. And I'll tell you, that was like the greatest thing about Buffy and Giles was like, I knew from Marie, who I adopted from, that they'd only ever lived in a room. So they didn't care when they got to my house that they were only in a room, right? But like, we took in Jada, and we have failed at every cat that we were fostering. Like, she needs a dental and she needs a little more help, and so we'll just take her until she gets a home, and then she had a home. But that was part of it, was like, oh my gosh, she is 10 years old, she was in a cage, right? And she had been there so long that her arthritis was worse, she just couldn't like move, and so just giving her a room to walk. And you think about those cats, like you said, we focus a lot on kittens because there's so many of them, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like because people tend to want kittens, and we try to convince them of like the benefit of others. You can move the kittens a little bit faster.
Yes.
So there is that system, but if we can get fosters who can say like, I don't ever want you, like you're like, I'll take the kittens for this amount of time, but there's somebody like, I'm not a kitten person, I don't want kittens, or I don't ever want a bottle feed. Like, okay, how do you feel about having a 10 or 12-year-old cat in your home for a little while we figure out what is the best home for them? There is something for everyone to do. I want to go back to, I'm like, we're just going to keep digging into this. When we talk about the letting go part, you all said it gets a little bit easier as you get used to it. I'm curious if there are little rituals, things that you do that maybe someone could say, okay, well maybe I could do that and it helps me let them go a little bit. Is there something that you do that is like I think sometimes we need a little bit of a ritual to be like, I'm passing on, right? Do you have anything like that, Mattie?
I like to have a really in-depth care package ready for my critters that go off. It's got their favorite treats, it's got toys, it's got enrichment items for them. The ritual of over-speaking to the new parents about all of the things like, hey, she only likes the blue wake mat on Wednesdays, so you have to make sure that it has one schmear of this particular can of food. That is the ritual. But yeah, having that care package ready to go is, I just love that, and then being able to educate the next set of parents for the animal coming in. Also, giving the 12 ways to get a hold of me if you need anything. And I'll be putting in that constant contact. Here's, my 10 emails. Here's both my cell phone numbers. Reach out for anything. Please send me pictures. Yeah, just having that ready to go. I also like to have a little fact sheet about the animal, scared of thunderstorms. This is favorite color, favorite food. Just having that ready to go for the next set of parents.
Do you have any rituals like that, Amy?
So a lot of times mine are going back to shelters, so I don't get to meet a lot of the families that adopt. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But they do a fact sheet, so I always extensively write out everything like what you were saying. You tell them, and here's my email. I'll send you baby pictures. I try to entice them to reach out to me. Like, you want to see them when they're 2 days old? I can show you, and then we always have like a little goodbye we do with them, that we all in my family say goodbye. I have to let Buddy, who is in my book, say goodbye, and I explain to him, they're leaving now, and so that's kind of like our little ritual. It's just this little goodbye ceremony, giving them lots of love and kisses and telling them they're going to find a great home.
Lori?
A lot of the same with the care packages. I get really weird, and like you were saying goodbye, I make all of my resident animals say goodbye, so I kind of hold them up. And okay, say bye to Ben, say bye to Cone, and like go through, and it's like, one by one, and then my family and I just kind of do a little send off. But encouraging them to follow us on social media. When I first started fostering, I did a little paw print ornament, like clay ornament, that I gave the new family to hang up. It's gotten harder as I've been doing more, but just being able to give some kind of gift I know some fosters will do like a little framed photo, you know, just something that is a little reminder of them. I also like to give something with their smell on it, so maybe like a toy, or we have a foster that also makes blankets to send with her kittens. So everybody has their own thing that just gives them that piece of being able to say goodbye and pass them along to their forever family.
You've mentioned a couple times, so I want to ask about that, because I know that a lot of people feel like, well, I don't know that I could foster because I don't know that my pets would be okay with me fostering, and you all have pets and you all foster. So Amy, I'll start with you. Can you offer some insight on how you get your current pets used to the idea of fostering?
So I always start my kittens out in a separate area. So my cats can like smell them under the door. And like Lori was saying, I used to do moms and babies, but I had to stop because my cats kind of started telling me, we're not okay with the moms. We're okay with the babies, but the moms, they just couldn't handle being in the house. So we went exclusively to babies. And I'm kind of one of the ones, once you become a bottle feeder, that's kind of what you become, because they need those bottle feeders. So I'm always getting the bottle babies. So because they're so tiny too, and I'm holding them, my cats can get their scent so much. And for my cats, at least, the younger they are, the more accepting they are. So when they're seeing them, and then by the time they're 4 weeks old and they're kind of out with my cats, oh, okay, you've been here, and it doesn't bother them. Now, I have Buddy who's all over them, but one of my older cats, Lily, is like, you stay over there and I stay here and we're good. You come to class, you're getting whacked. So every one of my cats is different in how they interact with them, but they can all accept the younger they are. But I can't bring in adult cats to my house, which I learned.
Gotcha. Mattie?
Yes. So I have a mixed household of cats and dogs, and with the cats typically doing the separate rooms, allowing them to get acquainted with each other's scent. I'm a big fan of Feel Away. It's a simulated feline pheromone to help everybody just kind of relax. My dogs, on the other hand, they're a little reactive at this point. So if we're introducing new dogs in the household, you know, we're meeting out somewhere else the property and doing a public meet and greet, so that we're not at home where the territory is. A little more difficult to do with cats, but yes, with the doggos, that's...
Load up, everybody, we're going to the park. And you're going to meet new cats.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know, maybe that's somebody's trick that we don't know about right now. They're like, I'm the best foster. I take all the cats to the park. Lori, what do you do typically?
I also have a mixed household, so I have dogs and cats, and I have 2 very large dogs, like 100+ pound dogs. I think with them, they've gotten used to it because there's always been cats there. They're good. They don't chase the cats or anything, but I think just doing what I kind of call like exposure therapy. So whether we have the kittens in like a safe environment, so a playpen or a carrier, and let the dogs smell through that, you know, protected space, and just get them used to the fact that there's someone else there. I also separate mine. I have a lower level in my house that I use for fostering, so it's like that's my foster area, then my own pets are on our main and upper levels. Once they get to that rowdy kind of teenage stage, they want to just come barreling out of my basement door, and it's like, okay, the dogs are up there. And then they learn to have that time with the dogs, and to adopt a kitten into a home that has a dog and have that kitten already have been around dogs really makes it wonderful for that adoptive family. So to be able to say in their bio, hey, they've been around dogs, they're used to it. Yes, a new dog, they might still have a little, oh, okay, we need to get used to you, but they've been exposed to that. And I think that's really a good benefit of having the animals in your home, for being able to transition from one home to another and say that they're able to get along with dogs and not be afraid of them. You know, I've had kittens that will weave in and out of my dog's legs and rub up against them, and you know, you see this 2-pound kitten and a 110-pound dog, and it's pretty cute. So, but just being responsible to go with the signs. You need to know your own animals and know what their kind of tells are, so whether it's the white in the eye if it's a dog, or like backing up. Just be able to read your own animal signs of, okay, we need to back off now, you know, start small, you know, kind of gradually transition to how much time they're together. Just make sure it's doing it safely.
And I'm sure that there's a great onboarding process with each of your organizations because they are also fabulous. You're gonna provide support too. If someone is like, I don't know if my cats would be okay or if my dogs would be okay. Well, you don't know until you try. But if you are trying and it is making you uncomfortable, there's support, right? You're not stuck with this.
No, and we also have something at Silly that's called babysit fosters. So for example, I was on vacation last week. We had a foster that watched my kittens for me. That's a great way to know if you think this would work for your home. So you can sign up as a volunteer and say, hey, I want maybe a short-term assignment. I'll watch some kittens or a cat or a dog for a weekend, see how my animals do, and then you know you're giving it back to their permanent foster at that time. But it's a good way to kind of test your house and your animals, and you're not locked into a long-term commitment. It's kind of like, and we need those. You know, our fosters want to go on vacations or have some time off too. So again, we call those our foster babysitters.
We have had some of those itty-bitty kitties here over the weekend. We actually got a surprise. Hi guys, welcome to PurrCon. Thanks for joining us. Get your cat ears. We actually on Friday, our foster was running late because she had to run to Indianapolis Animal Care Services to pick up 7 2-day-old kittens. Like that's kind of the life, right? and again, if that's not a part that you can play in it, there's still a part you can play. But if you do have flexibility to be like, I can run and get those kittens or that dog and get that animal where it needs to go, that is a big part of this too. Anything else in terms of like how to make sure that your resident animals are okay with the process?
I think with mine, I talk to them, like what the communicators were talking about yesterday, but I also give them a short break. Like I try not to go boom, 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 and they just need that kind of like downtime themselves. And then, you know, sometimes, especially with bottle babies when they're really little, you know, it's every couple hours I'm feeding them. So really making sure I give the time to my resident cats to give them their love, give them their playtime, like, and still make them feel special is something I always try to make sure to do too for them.
Anything else on that one, Mattie?
Not that I can think of.
Perfect. All right. So we've mentioned bottle feeding a couple of times. I want to get into that. It was one of the most fascinating things, again, when I got more and more into rescue and working with indie neighborhood cats who finds kittens all the time, and that bottle feeding is so important. But it is a commitment. There is a lot to do if we have kittens who do not have a mother to share. And I would like, since you are in bottle feeding Babyland, and I know you do that too, Lori, to share that process a little bit so that people understand and maybe are like, I don't want to do that, or maybe they're like, this sounds like me.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people think it's really overwhelming, which it can be. So I would suggest if you did start bottle feeding, take 1 or 2. Don't start with the 7, like but you do have to be ready. I mean, the younger they are, the more often you're feeding them, at least like every 2 hours, and that's all through the night. So can you handle that getting up? Do you have the time with that? Will it work with your work? Will work let you take them with you? Like, you know, because they've got to be with you all day long to be able to be fed. But it's also probably one of the most rewarding things I do. Like, there's nothing like, you know, you get up in the middle of the night, you're tired, and this little kitten is like so excited to see you and just wants that bottle, and then you're giving them the bottle and the little ears are wiggling and they're just needing like the air or whatever and it just, there's nothing better. It just gives you such that good feeling of endorphins that you just, okay, I can get up next time and do this all over again. So it's a lot, but it's so worth the reward of it. And you do create bonds with those kittens. And from what I've seen, the ones I've fostered, those are some of the snuggliest, loving, want to be held. Like everybody's always like, I want this cat that I can do anything with. Get a kitten that's been bottle fed because they love being held. You can turn them this way, that way, pretty much do anything you want with them.
Lori, you're a bottle feeder.
Yes, it takes some mental, I guess, strength to do that every, 2-3 hours. We're very fortunate at ARPO. A lot of our bottle feeders work in the vet med world, so they're able to take them with them to work, which is wonderful. We have a foster, the one that took the 7 2-day-old kittens. She literally has a little bag, and we'll take them into Kroger, Costco. Nobody knows. It's like a big handbag. Nobody knows what's in there.
Oh my gosh, how many times has someone walked past me in Kroger with incognito kittens?
Right.
I'm gonna be checking bags now. The kittens in there?
Yeah, but it is a very 24/7, type of fostering. It's not something that I think everybody can/wants to do, but it's a very, very special need. The thing that I would point out to say, those are the animals from all the research and the statistics that I've seen. Those are the types of cats that are most vulnerable in the shelter, because shelter workers, if they're there till 5, 6 o'clock at night, there's no one there overnight. So, sadly, if those kittens are not placed that day, they won't make it out of the shelter. They have to immediately go to rescue. So we get texts almost daily from some of our shelter partners, hey, we've got these 4 bottle babies that came in, like they need to get out. As soon as they come in, they need out. Because there's just no one there that can give them that care overnight in the shelter environment. So unfortunately, they are the most vulnerable, and they're the ones that sometimes it's the hardest to find fosters for because of their high need. So that's something that we're always looking for is bottle kittens, some bottle kitten fosters. Something that's worked well for ARPO is we have our bottle kitten fosters that will just keep them until they're weaned, and then they hand them off. So that way that opens them up to take more bottle kittens. We won't have those fosters hold on to them until the adoption. So it's like they'll get them until 4, maybe 5 weeks, hand them off, then they can take more bottle kittens instead of having them until 9, 10 weeks when they get adopted.
That is amazing. Like, they never sleep.
Yeah.
but they get the endorphins,
They do,
right? They got
Yep.
But you're very excited once you're like, okay, we've gotten to 3 hours now, or we've gotten to 4 hours. It's like every time you can go up an hour and how often you have to
so
get
exciting.
up, it's very exciting.
I know we're focused here on foster, but part of what we can do to help our fosters is to make sure that we do understand our part, and if we do find kittens. So I did want you to maybe just touch on that, because you were talking about how vulnerable they are, that sometimes we need to leave them and wait for mom, and if you end up with them, that there can be just hours, right? Can you kind of
Yes.
touch on that a little
Yes,
bit?
so we kind of call it kitten napping. I think people are very well intended, so they see a litter of, couple-day-old kittens in the woods somewhere, or under a barn or a deck or something, and they think they've been abandoned, so they take them and then take them to the shelter. Oftentimes that mama cat is out foraging for food, doing what she needs to do, and she will come back to the nest, so to speak. So what we encourage people to do is, if you find a litter of babies like that, and when we say babies, like eyes are closed, little ones, not really walking around much, if you take some flour and sprinkle flour around their little area. Obviously they're little, they're not moving. And then if you see after 12, 24 hours, no disruption in that flour, that means that mama cat, maybe something happened to her and she's not coming back. And then in that situation, it would be okay to take them. But if you see that disruption in the flour line that you've drawn around them, then you know that mama cat is coming back to them. Also, if the babies look clean, it means they're getting taken care of. So if their eyes aren't goopy, they're not like dirty in their fur, that's a good sign that mama cat is tending to them, and they're best to leave them be. If they're dirty, goopy eyes, that could be more of a sign that they've been abandoned. But we try to make sure we're educating people not to kidnap them, because it's to their advantage to have the mama with them as long as they can.
Yeah, I agree with everything Lori said. It also depends on their location. If of course if they're on a road, I've had people call me, they're on the side of the road, what do I do? Well, then you got to take them. I mean, it's just for their safety. So it also depends on their location where they are, but the mom is best. So the longer they can be with mom, the higher their chances are of survival. So no matter what we can do, mom is always best for them.
I want to kind of flip things here as we get towards the end and have you enlighten us on as the adopters. What are the ideal things we can be doing to make life easier for you? So if I am interested in adopting kittens from you, what are the things that you need to see in us to know that we are the person you are willing to pass that cat off to for the rest of their life? Mattie? And it's same with dogs, right? Like, how can we be good adopters and show you that we are the people that you are going to trust with this animal that you have loved?
Show me the receipts. Show me the receipts of your past animals. I mean, there are new families that this is going to be their first time adopting. But if you've had pets in the past, talk to me about your previous pets. Let me know, like, what were their favorite toys? How long did you have them? When's their birthday? I'm interested in what you've had in the past so that I can see how you are invested in other animals' lives. Showing me pictures of the home and where the animal is going to be kept. Some of your favorite shops that you go in and shop for pet supplies. Of course, it's different if you're coming to an independent store like mine or if you're going to a really big chain, So just what your investment is right off the bat.
What about you, Lori? I know, because ARPO actually has a pretty in-depth process, home visit and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I think for me, just as a foster, people get so attached to a photo or a video that they see online. And then I try to have, for me personally, when we were talking about ways to say goodbye, my way of remembering fosters is to kind of journal through my Instagram page so I can go back and see, oh, here's this litter from this year. This is my journal of my fostering experience. But people message me like, oh my gosh, I want this kitten. And it's like, you've just seen a picture of them. You haven't come to meet them. You haven't spent time with them. I know that everybody can kind of have a type where you feel like you are going to connect with this ginger kitten or this calico kitten. But for me, I want to see people put in the time to come spend with maybe all the whole litter, see which animal really responds well to them, look more at their personalities versus their coloring to see which personality is going to fit best in my household, not just be like, I want this cat because of what it looks like. I know that's a first kind of attractor, just like you would with people and finding a mate, but really just kind of looking beyond the appearance and looking more at the personality. ARPO does, we try to make a really good placement for the animal and the family. So we do conduct a background check just to make sure that, that is all on the up and up. We like to do a home visit. We do a lot of these virtually to make sure that we can see where the animal is going to go. If it's a dog, make sure they have a safe backyard area for them, an area to walk them. If it's a cat, make sure they have an area to set up the kitten when they're, first acclimating to their space. We do a vet reference, so we're going to call their vet, any current pets that they have. We want them to be up to date on vaccinations. We want to see that they're spayed and neutered if they're at an age-appropriate, place in their life to have that happen. And then we also want to have that meet and greet where we can meet them in person and feel like that's a good fit for their family. If someone's going to be gone 8-10 hours a day, we're going to suggest that they get 2 kittens because they can keep themselves entertained. If it's someone that's going to be working out of the home a lot of time, then maybe they would get an adult cat that doesn't need that interaction as much. We want the animal they choose to fit with their lifestyle and their household.
Anything else to add?
Not really add, I guess. I just definitely agree with everything you said. A lot of times the shelters I work with do all that, the background checks. Sometimes I adopt them out myself and just recently had one. It's exactly what you're talking about. She saw a picture. I had 3 of them. I want that one because of the coloring. I was like, well, you need to come to the house. You need to meet them. We'll see. And she started talking to me. She has dogs. She has this lifestyle. And I'm like, that kitten's not going to work. You need that one. And she's like, okay. And so she spent some time with them, and that's who she ended up adopting. And now I get the text, you were right. He's like a dog. He's fitting in. He's perfect with them. And so it is so important for people to not get so fixated on a color and have to see the temperament of the cat.
Do we have any questions? Make sure I gave you an opportunity. Tanner's over there thinking about how he can foster in his room after PurrCon. He's like, I think I can do this. Maybe I'll just babysit some kittens on the weekend. Any final thoughts in terms of what you wish people knew about adopting or fostering?
One thing I'm sure ARPO does it too, but I know all the shelters I work with is, and people don't realize is, the shelter's going to provide you with everything you need to foster too. So like the litter, the food, all that stuff. All the shelters I work with provide that. So some people sometimes think, oh, I don't have the funds for it. Well, they'll give you. I know my shelters will even give people tents if they don't have a room to put the kittens in. So you can put them in a tent, or they use like ferret cages and all those things. So you don't have to worry about that cost. Now, a lot of the fosters, myself included, you know, I don't take that. That's like my donation to the shelter, but that is available. So some people aren't aware that that's an option.
Okay, thank you.
Actually, I have a question about the donation thing.
Yep,
It's kind of tangled.
let's go.
So other than money, as far as donating to the rescues, is there anything else that people can possibly donate for fosters that would be beneficial?
So ARPO's a little different. We're a private organization. We don't get any government funding, so we do not provide all of the food and supplies for our fosters. We provide all of the medical care. So we have Amazon and Chewy wish list where we encourage people to send us food, litter. We work with organizations such as Indie Humane that has a pet pantry. So every 5 weeks we do go there and we're able to get a decent amount of supplies. But right now I think we have 140 cats, mostly kittens, in our care. You can imagine that's not going to go far in a 5-week period. So we do have some things to supplement. We try to give new fosters like a foster starter pack. So they have litter boxes, food bowls, that sort of thing. But when you have a litter, for like 6 weeks, I had 9 kittens in my house. I was going through a case of food like every other day.
Wow.
So I mean, it was like I got this whole pile of donations. It looks like a lot. In 2 weeks, it was like down to the ground. So most of rescues, everyone's going to be different. So shelters, rescues, usually on their social media or website, they might have a list of like their most needed supplies. When we have the bottle kittens that KJ was talking about, we have a need now for formula. So, you know, that is usually a higher priced item. Like a close to 5-pound bag of formula is close to $100. So getting help with that, any type of supplies, blankets, toys, litter is, who wants to buy litter? It's such a high need item, and just for sanitary reasons, you really have to change that often and keep up on the litter. So litter and wet food are like usually our top 2 items of things that we need for cats. So like I said, time is another thing. So many ways that you can volunteer outside of fostering, transporting, helping with social media. We have some photographers that volunteer for us. They just like to take photos of the animals that they can show a little better on social media and on our adoption pages that all push to Pet Finder and things like that. So just a lot of different ways where you can get involved even if you don't think you have the ability to foster.
Even things like finances, like there's the business side of things.
Yep, we have people that write newsletters for us, help with treasuring, being a treasurer of something, fundraising, applying for grants. So there's kind of a business side of like the nonprofit world that we also need volunteers for. So if you don't want to be directly hands-on with the animals, event planning and coordinating for fundraisers, there's lots of ways to get involved that way as well.
Anything else to add, Mattie?
The social media coverage is great. I mean, at the very least, share pictures, talk about the rescue. Word of mouth is huge. There's so many rescues in the city of Indianapolis, and I could just start spieling out all of them. What are you looking for? What are you in the market for? A dog, a cat, a special needs cat, special needs dog. Tell your friends. Share it on Instagram, share it on Facebook, and just really get the names out there.
Well, and when you come to events like this, stop and ask. There may be a need for something that you never thought of, right?
Yeah.
So it's a simple conversation of how can I be involved, or you're amazing. It makes a difference. So thank you very much, ladies, for doing this with us. Thank you for enlightening us. I hope that you were inspired to be involved in some way and know that every single action, every single donation, every single share on social media, which costs nothing, makes a huge difference. And if you have any questions about, if you want to foster, we've got so many different organizations like the organizations we talked about today. Hop into the KJ's Cat Club. It's my free group on Facebook. There's all kinds of organizations. So if you're like, I don't know if anybody really needs my help, I'll promise you, you'll get an answer. Like if you hop in my group and say, I was thinking about fostering, but I don't know where to begin. We got you.
And that's the thing with so many organizations and them all being different. Like you were saying, you give your animals back to a shelter. If you know you need a time frame to stop it, like, hey, once a kitten gets to be 9 weeks of age, I know I'm done, I'm going to take them to the shelter, that could be a great fit for you. If you think you're more on the emotional side and you want to know where your kittens are going to go, you're going to do the adoption, then you can go for organization that doesn't have a shelter. So there's something for everyone with that element too. So if you're considering fostering, do your research and choose an organization that you feel like is going to really fit within your needs and kind of what your goals would be with fostering.
Thank you. The last thing I'm going to do, Amy, I think you got your cape yesterday? All right. You are all super cat parents. You got your cape. Welcome to our society. You certainly have earned it, right? All right, yes, round of applause. Coming up, we're gonna take a break here at noon. We are back at, I should check my schedule before I speak. We're back at 2, right? At 2 o'clock, the Ninja Groomer is gonna be here and she's bringing her cat Luna. So beautiful Luna is gonna be on stage and you're going to learn the secrets of grooming your cats, like brushing them and clipping their claws without stress. Like, nobody believes me. Come here at 2 o'clock to find out. And at 3 o'clock, BC Henshin is going to be here. He's a pet nutrition specialist. And he's going to be sharing helpful ways for you to understand what you're actually feeding your cat. Things like how to read a label, right? Know how many calories you should be feeding your cat. That's going to be at 3 o'clock. So lots of helpful information still to come and all kinds of fun going on here at PurrCon. Once again, thank you to my ladies of the foster panel for all that you do, and thanks for being here at PurrCon. Woo!
Can we get a picture real quick?
Yes.